good evening. Welcome. This is Hot Edition. We're live on news up at Adesawe Kanda, also live on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We're live on W93.5 Inwa and beyond. I am Alfred Ocansey.
My name is Beatrice Adu.
This evening, Catholic bishops also and other petitioners also join them on the streets to petition President Akufo-Addo demanding urgent action against Galamsey after close to 5 hours of a prayer walk. We have details of that plus some reactions shortly.
Also coming up, the Bank of Ghana directs the board chair of the ADB Bank to resign over a 2 million cedi scandal. We'll go into the details of that story plus some analysis for you.
And the fate of public universities returning to school uncertain as strike by Senior Staff Association and Public Universities and now University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTA, continues. We're on the campuses to tell you exactly what's happening there. We have the latest in business and sports as well. Over the next 1 hour, 30 minutes, will remain your election command center. We'll tell you about the happenings and the fight against illegal mining, the renewed fight as government has commissioned the military to lead this fight again. We'll tell you what the latest is on this particular renewed fight against illegal mining. Sofwa Boahin is here with the latest in the summary of the news.
Thank you, Alfred, and welcome to the news summary segment. We move to the details. The Catholic Archdiocese of Accra, in partnership with the Conference of Major Superiors of Religious and Catholic Lay Faithful and Professionals, began an environmental prayer protest walk against Galamsey. This initiative aims to raise awareness about the devastating impact of illegal mining, popularly known as Galamsey, and call for urgent government action to address this issue. Some 777 new lawyers at the 61st call to the bar ceremony have been admonished by the Chief Justice to brace themselves for the challenges of the digital era, which is increasingly impacted by the spread of fake news, misinformation, and disinformation. Gertrude Araba Isaba Saki Tokono emphasized the importance of ensuring that the law keeps pace with rapidly evolving technology. The Accra Circuit Court has denied an application by Democracy Hub protester Elom Abibio, also known as AMA Governor, requesting for permission to travel out of the country for a conference. 10 of the 52 protesters on bail were in court for the continuation of the hearing of their case. Away from that, the fate of public universities returning to school seems uncertain. This is because members of Senior Staff Association in Public Universities and other groups remain on strike over the non-payment of their Tier 2 pensions. But Director General of Ghana Treasury Education Commission says some of the concerns have been addressed and believe the strike would be called off soon. Artisanal small-scale miners and community miners in Obuasi are once again urging the government to press mining giant Anglo Gold Ashanti to relinquish its abandoned concessions in a bid to create job opportunities and reduce illegal mining in the area. The group argues that the move would not only alleviate the rising unemployment rate but also rejuvenate the local economy. And this brings us to the end of our news summary segment, and over to you.
Safwa, thank you so much. This morning is on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. Let's go straight into the issues right now as the Catholic Archdiocese of Accra and the Conference of Major Superiors of Religious Bodies, Ghana, have urged the government to swiftly deploy all available means to immediately halt illegal mining activities in the country. Now, this follows massive destruction of Ghana's water bodies and forest cover. In a petition, the church urged the government to acknowledge Galamsey as a social, economic, and security issue which must engender action such as declaration of a state of emergency. The petition was presented to the presidency after a prayer walk to draw attention to the Galamsey scourge. Also made several other demands. My colleague Noble Crosbiana joins me in the studio. You were with them on the streets.
Right.
Did you pray as well?
Well, you couldn't have helped than to sing and say the Lord's Prayer. You can, recite the rosary. You also do it. They were giving out rosaries, though.
I see.
So I think it's called Ave Maria or something.
True.
So you say it. It was completely different from the kind of protest that you used to. The most recent one, this popular song, Oma Me Bako Papa Bebre.
That's true.
And then a lot of reggae songs, Bob Marley, patriotic songs. This was completely different. They're singing the Lord's Prayer. They're praying the Lord's Prayer, singing hymns. It was just like that throughout, from the Holy Trinity Cathedral through to the Christ the King Church. So they used the Holy Trinity Road around Ridge, took the roundabout towards the 37 road, but they did not get there. After the Akwaje interchange, they took their right towards Dankwa Circle. Then around the fire service headquarters, the police headquarters, they took another left, and that was towards the cantonment area, where they eventually ended up at the Holy Trinity Cathedral. Essentially, it was a very peaceful protest. The police did not have anything to do. Well, they didn't have much to do at all, because they had knights from their church who were, if you like, guarding the people on where to walk, how fast they should walk, how slow they should walk, how comporting they should have themselves before they are able to carry out and reach the goal that they intended to reach.
So were these persons essentially Catholic bishops, or there were other groups that joined them on this prayer walk?
So when the announcement was made, it was the Accra Diocese of the Catholic Church.
Right.
And that includes over 40 churches. That's what I understand. So we understand that members of the various churches in the Catholic Church, those in Accra, joined. So it was not entirely a minister's walk. It was the church's walk. So it means members of the church, a bishop, a reverend minister, children were there, adults were there, the aged were there, Gen Zs were there, everybody was there, representing a full picture of the entire Catholic Church in Accra. So it was not only the ministers who were there, it was the entire church body from all walks of life. We had other groups also. PNC, Bernard Mona was there. He's the flag bearer of the PNC. We spotted him there. We engaged with him. We also, at the end of the protest, we saw anti-corruption crusaders. They were also there. We also saw GRASA, Graduate Students Association of Ghana. They also, we were in touch with them at the end of the protest. So other groups joined.
I see. And the end point was supposed to have them present a petition to the Jubilee House.
Exactly, Alfred.
With the previous protests we've seen, that had not happened, or it's never happened. In this instance, did they get that opportunity to do so?
They in this instance also did not get the opportunity to go to the Jubilee House. It appears no protest will be able to go to the Jubilee House, regardless how peaceful or otherwise it is. They also, like a lot of the other protests, terminated at the Christ the King Church, and that was where the Deputy Chief of Staff received the petition on behalf of the President. And with this, I'm talking about Emmanuel Adumoah Bosman. He's the Deputy Chief of Staff. So he came in the name of the President, that they know this is happening. So he has been sent to receive the petition on behalf of government, and then he will relay the information to government. He took the opportunity to commend the protesters for a peaceful walk. He said that this is how it should be. So other protesters should take a cue from it. If you want to picket, you want to protest, if you want to demonstrate, there's no law barring you, but do it in the right way, just like these people have done. He also, and Alfred will be listening to him very shortly, he also said he acknowledged the spiritual importance in the fight against Galamsey. Adumoah, we'll take a listen to him right now, when he was pleased with the conduct of the protesters, and when he said that there's a spiritual need in the fight against illegal mining.
You've actually brought to the fore the dimension that we hardly talk about in this matter. The good book tells us in the book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 7, verse 14, it says that if my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves, pray, seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear them from heaven, and I will forgive their sin, and this is what I like, and heal their land. The spiritual aspect of healing our land comes from adhering to these 4 principles that the Lord God Almighty himself told Solomon at the commissioning of his temple. So we think that you are in the right direction. We shall pass your petition to the president, and I assure you, As soon as he returns from international assignment, he would have a dialogue with the country. He shall speak to the nation because this matter is of prime interest to all of us. It cuts across everybody. It goes beyond politics. It cuts across every citizen, and we shall give the utmost attention to it. Already some measures have been taken, but the president shall communicate to the... You've actually brought to the... And I must also commend you for the peaceful way in which this walk was conducted. Indeed, you have shown that pledge. Appreciate it. It's a good example for all those who intend to embark on exercising their democratic rights by going through demonstrations or picketing or anything of the sort. We are most grateful. May God bless us all. God bless our nation. Make it great and strong. I thank you.
Well, so there you have it there, essentially making the point. And I heard something quite striking. He says the president is going to speak to the nation on this when he returns from his international duty.
Exactly.
I see.
He says the president has taken notice of all that is happening. He also has a lot of involvement in this. He's passionate about the subject. And just like he did during the COVID-19 crisis, it is now time for the president to speak. So he is very emphatic, very certain that when the president returns, the president will speak, address the nation on the fight against illegal mining.
Noble Crosby Annan, thank you so much for this. And now let's stay a bit further on this matter. Reverend Father Raymond Osei Tutu is the Chancellor for the Catholic Archdiocese here in Accra. In fact, they led this prayer walk today. And with that petition that was presented to the presidency, Reverend Father Raymond Osei Tutu, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Hot Edition.
Good evening, my brother.
It's good to have you. Now, just for the benefit of those who are uninitiated in all of this, what was contained in the petition that you presented to the presidency about the fight against illegal mining?
Well, in the letter to the president, of course, which is addressed to him, contains at least 4 issues that were outlined, as well as other solutions to them. One of the issues concerns the destruction of our water bodies. Number 2 was the loss of land, agricultural land and crops. Third would be the health risk that is looming on our nation. And the 4th is the weak enforcement of the laws that we seem to have. So these 4 issues were presented to the president together with some proposed, solutions or like stuff. Yeah, these 4.
I see, but the declaration of a state of emergency, which is one of the 4 you mentioned, was containing the demands of labor as well. That has not been met as we speak. How confident are you that anything is going to happen differently in your case?
But in fact, nothing has been done so far, just for the fact that there have been promises and seeming goodwill towards it. But in reality, nothing has been done. So if we put it into perspective, that's what it is. Nothing has been done. Promises don't make action unless they have been put into action. So our prayers today was that we thank God that there's been at least a change of attitude and a change of perspective seeming towards wanting to do something. But the reality is that will something be done? That's why we are keeping praying. That's why we keep on praying. Yeah.
And yesterday when we were speaking, I was telling you that even the road to hell is paved with good intentions. So really, beyond these intentions and promises that have been communicated, from where you sit and what you have monitored over the period, are you confident that something will be done beyond just the promises made to fight illegal mining?
Very much so. For the fact that we have prayed, I believe so strongly that something is going to happen. Otherwise, I am not a man of God. Otherwise, I don't believe in God. Having asked God, He is going to do something about it. But what we need to understand is that the answers of God are sometimes not the way we want it. So however God answers it, it will be an answer to all of us. It will be an answer for all of us. But we pray that it will be, at the end, it will be something that will endure the welfare of all Ghanaians, without it being something that it will not allow few people to just devastate our land and then cause the whole country to suffer later on.
See, and for you, what led to this point of even resorting to prayer or asking the Almighty God to touch the heart of the president? Because really, prior to this moment today, there's been continuous calls, demands, demonstrations that has not been heeded to. So we have to get to prayers.
Okay, even before we saw the demonstration by other citizens, it must be on record that the Ghana Bishops' Conference on the 11th of September had issued a communique on this. And over the years, as the Archbishop of Accra, Most Reverend John Bonaventure Kofi, indicated in his message today, that since 2009, 2010, 2016, 15, 2021, that we have consistently been talking about the issue of Galamsey. And then we're talking about the fact that we are going for election. And if we are going for election, the Most Reverend John Bonaventure Kofi was very, very clear. And he sounded it all to all political parties. If a party gives a manifesto of which there are no clear principles, policies to stop Galamsey, it is not a manifesto. And Ghanaians must be careful of that. That was a very prophetic and a cautious statement to those who want to rule over us.
And see, were there specific timelines to this, the details of this petition you sent to the presidency?
Well, I don't know. We cannot give the deadlines to the presidency. Of course, we certainly understand that as far as the president of Ghana is concerned, this particular president will be president only for a few months. But this statement, this petition was made to the president of Ghana. So it is valid for anybody who occupies the seat of presidency going forward, yes. It is a document that posterity will judge us by.
Reverend Father, appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Reverend Father Raymond Asetitu, Chancellor of the Catholic Archdiocese here in Accra.
And let's bring you some more on this, because beyond that march by the Catholic priest, the Attorney General is said to have directed the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, to submit legislative instrument LI 2462, which allows mining in forest reserves, to Parliament for revocation. This marks a significant step in the fight against mining in forest reserves. Now, you would recall that this was one of the key demands of organized labor, which declared to go on a strike on October 10, a strike which was eventually suspended or called off. Now, 3FM is also learning that a directive was issued to the EPA on October 10, the same day organized labor had intended to go on the strike. Awula Sewa joins us on the line. She's co-founder and coordinator of Eco-Conscious Citizens Ghana. Good evening to you, ma'am. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
This is something you had been asking for, and now we are learning that the AG is asking EPA to get Parliament to revoke this. This must be good news for you.
Of course, it's good news. It's a step in the right direction. And let me say that we've been at it for a while, and there's even a court case, Arocha Ghana, Eco-Conscious Citizens, Kenashibi and others asking for the revocation of LI 2462. So it's a step in the right direction. But let me add that we've also asked for all licenses that have been issued since LI 2462 was passed to be also revoked. Because we don't want a situation where the LI is revoked, which is fantastic, but the licenses that have been granted to mine in globally significant biodiversity areas remain. So those licenses must also be revoked, in addition to the other demands that we have made.
And so how keenly are you going to follow this to ensure that this is done as quickly as possible?
Well, we are following it. As I've already said, there's a case pending in court. We do know that court takes a long time. So if the information we are receiving is correct and the AG is asking for this to be delayed, then that's fantastic. But in the meantime, we're not resting on our laurels. We are monitoring very closely. And we are also asking that all the licenses that were granted should be removed. And on another note, we are also saying that the demonstrators should be released. Oliver is still in custody, and it seems a travesty of justice that he is in custody for trying to raise awareness of the catastrophe that we face from illegal mining, the poisoning of our water bodies, and so on and so forth. And then those who have been poisoning our water bodies, many of them are walking free. It doesn't look like justice, does it?
Some people may argue that this very decision from the Attorney General's office could be a subtle sign of some sort of political will to dealing with it. We've seen the government telling us that military men have been sent to our forests to deal with illegal mining as well. For you, what else would you expect that would show that indeed we are totally dealing with this?
The big flyers, we want the high flyers to be held accountable. For example, we've heard about equipment being burned. Fantastic. But the equipment was brought into the country. Somebody brought it in. Who brought it in? We need to follow the money. We need to make sure that those behind the essential threats we face should be held accountable. We don't just want machinery to be burned, but those who are engaging in illegal mining, the real kingpins behind it, are just still laying back. And then tomorrow they go back. We don't want that. We want to pull it all out by its roots. So we are saying that the machines you are burning, find out who the owners are, who are accountable, and look behind the veil. Let's look at those who are really, really destroying this country through illegal mining, poisoning us all, causing ecocide. And you know that poisoning of water in wartime is a war crime. So what is happening is really, really serious, and we have to ensure that we have to ensure that those who are high flyers in the major political parties are held accountable. They should be arrested, prosecuted, and then their ill-gotten gains should be seized and used towards reclaiming the environment they have destroyed.
There are those who also believe that beyond this directive from the AG that we're hearing of, the government sending military to our forests or areas where illegal mining is being done, the public outcry, as it were, together with the march, the protest should continue, to ensure that all the demands are met. So we deal with this now, once and for all. What do you think about that?
I mean, of course. I mean, we can't just sit down and say, praise the Lord, they are doing this and that. It has to be sustained. So we salute UTAC, who are now the conscience of the people, and we salute all the brave men and women who have been demonstrating and who have been advocating up against what is going on. So there's no reason why anything should stop. We should continue piling up the pressure. We should say that, yes, this is a step in the right direction, but we ask for a state of emergency. It was necessary so that we could go into all the forest reserves, water bodies, remove the miners and also the equipment. We also ask for a pause on small-scale mining, community mining, whatever you want to call it. A lot of the time, it doubles as illegal mining. There's a case in Atronsu where they were waiving a license and they've gone and destroyed the only source of water, the Atronsu stream, and destroyed the landscape. The police arrested them and then gave them police bail, whereas the protesters were not given police bail. Be that as it may, this is what we are talking about: pause all community mining, and then revoke all the licenses, and then look at Professor Frimpong Boateng's report. Those who were mentioned in the report should be investigated and prosecuted. And if they are found guilty, their ill-gotten wealth should be taken away and used, upholding the polluter pays principle, used towards the reclamation of our environment. So since our demands have not all been met, the pressure should continue until all the demands are met, and we begin to see that we are beginning to reset what is going on. Because currently we are still heading towards a catastrophe. And it's only if we put all the measures in place that we avert the catastrophe.
And so for you, the declaration of a state of emergency is still necessary, even at this time?
I think it is necessary. Because, you see, you don't want to do it piecemeal. You just want to ensure that this time we are resolute. And I want to say that it's necessary for all political parties to sign up to adopting these measures. Because there's no point in continuing, and then come the election, should there be a change, the next government decides it's not going to follow these steps. It will send us right back. So I think the interest of Ghana, we face an existential threat. All leaders, if they truly care about Ghana and not just about ruling, should come together and say that these are the steps needed to avert a catastrophe. So we are all signing up to them. So it's no longer an election winner or loser. It's a question of saving Ghana from a catastrophe. I'm sure you are all aware about the rise in kidney disease, cancers, maternal deaths, and birth defects, and so on and so forth. And the fact that our water is being poisoned, and even when it's clear, Ghana water cannot assure us that there's no mercury in it. We know that our foodstuffs that have been exported have been found to contain mercury. So we really face a catastrophe, and all political parties should come together and for once put Ghana first and agree to adopt these measures.
My last question to you. We had a presidential staffer confirming to us that when the president returns to the country, we understand he's out of the country, we should be expecting him to address us on this issue beyond the declaration of a state of emergency. What else would you want to hear from the president?
Well, I want to hear from the president that we're going to treat those who are destroying this country very severely, because we'll see how badly the protesters were treated. So we want the assurance that it doesn't matter who they are, whether they are financiers of the party or not, they'll be dealt with. It doesn't matter who they are. We're going to take this matter extremely seriously. We want to be assured that, for example, when it comes to Akonta mining, there's going to be a thorough investigation, and if truly they destroy parts of the Kano Nimiri Forest Reserve, they'll be held accountable. So we want the president to be quite robust about the steps that are going to be taken to agree to our demands so that we can turn around from the catastrophe we are facing. So I'm expecting fellow Ghanaians. I'm going to declare a state of emergency. I'm going to ensure that our forest reserves and water bodies are no-go areas. Anybody found there will be arrested, prosecuted, and their assets seized and used towards reclamation of our destroyed environment.
Thank you very much for speaking to us, Awola Sewa.
Thank you very much for having me.
And Awola Sewa is co-founder and coordinator, Eco-Conscious Citizens Ghana.
It's live here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. We're live on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. Also on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. Keep your thoughts coming to 3FM 927. Read out to you and to the rest of the world. That's how you can connect with us as well. There's some breaking news coming through right now. We're going to put it out shortly. And this is with respect to the strikes by a number of the education unions.
Breaking news on 3FM 92.7.
Some news coming through. The Teachers and Educational Workers Union, TEWU, and the Ghana Association of University Administrators have suspended their nationwide strike. That's information coming through right now. The Teachers and Educational Workers Union, TEWU, and the Ghana Association of University Administrators have suspended their nationwide strike. The strikes, which brought many universities to a standstill, started on September 20 when TEWU joined other unions in protest against the government's failure to address issues like vehicle maintenance and off-campus allowances, along with delayed Tier 2 pension contributions. The Ghana Association of Universities Administrators also began their strike on September 18 of unpaid allowances despite a prior agreement with government. The national president of the Ghana Association of University Administrators, the national president, Michael Ewusu Ansa, warned that if their demands are not met within 3 weeks, they may resume their industrial action.
So NEC has today reviewed the development and have approved the suspension of our strike. Approved the suspension of our strike with effect from Monday. Within 3 weeks, a technical team should begin work on the concerns raised, sure that the proper people that have mandate to decide for government are at the table so that issues can be addressed and resolutions made as soon as possible.
That's the national president of Michael. That's the Ghana Association of Universities Administrators, Michael Ewusu Ansa, there, giving details of why they decided to call off the strike, and they're resuming work on Monday. But bear in mind that the University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, they are also on strike as we speak because of the issues related to illegal mining. So even though these two unions, TEWU and the administrators of the universities, have called off their strike, There's still some strike ongoing. We also have the Senior Staff Association of the Universities of Ghana, who are also on strike as well. So clearly, it portends also some more problems and challenges for the universities, the public universities across the country to deal with. And you do know, as a result of these strikes, they've had to postpone their reopening, pending or awaiting the decision by these unions to call off their strike. So we'll keep an eye on that and see how things play out. But straight to the courts, the Accra Circuit Court has denied an application by Democracy Hub protester Elom Abebio, also known as Ama Governor, requesting for permission to travel out of the country for a conference. 10 of the 52 protesters on bail were in court for the continuation of their hearing of the case. Lord Edwasari is a court correspondent. He brought some details on this matter.
When the case was called, prosecution led by State Attorney Amanda Wadi indicated that they had filed their disclosures but had outstanding ones to file. She prayed for an adjournment to be able to do so. Lawyer for Ama Governor submitted her client had an engagement out of the country from October 13 to 18 and prayed the courts to grant her leave. The lawyer also wanted the charge of assault on a public officer struck out. Another lawyer representing second accused Emmanuel Jan made an application for charges against his client to be struck out since he wasn't part of the protest on the said day. But responding to the applications, the prosecution indicated that they were unaware of the development since it had not been brought to their attention. In her ruling, presiding judge Evelyn Asamoah indicated that lawyers of Ama Governor had not formally filed the application and urged them to do so. She thus denied the application. The judge further ordered the prosecution to file their witness statements and adjourn the case to October 30. Lawyer for the protesters, Prince Ganaku, was optimistic Ama Governor has nothing to worry about.
After the court declined her application to, travel out of the jurisdiction, Eloma Bebio actually broke down in tears in the courtroom. But one of the lawyers, Prince Ganaku, says there's no cause for alarm and he's been reacting to the development in courts today.
The original bail conditions did not lock her in the country. It didn't say she couldn't leave the jurisdiction. The condition was that present yourself to the police at least once a week. As far as I'm concerned, as long as she's doing that, there is no issue. So the refusal of the court is, to me, only relevant insofar as she is not going anywhere that is going to stop her from presenting herself to the police once a week. It is incumbent upon her to comply with the bail conditions, but we also have to be aware what the bail conditions are. So as long as she's complying, there's no problem.
Benjamin Akufu, who was also arrested after going to visit protesters in custody, also appeared before the court after he was granted bail. The prosecution was again directed to file their disclosures and witness statements before October 25. Benjamin is also to reappear before the court on October 30.
That's Lord Edwasari, it's our court correspondent. Let's say a bit further on this matter. Lawyer Samuel Bwaji Amua is a private legal practitioner, one of the lawyers for some of these protesters who have been granted bail as we speak and were in court earlier today for the continuation of the hearing of their case. Counsel, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Hot Edition.
Good evening.
So we're reading that in the case, well, not your client's case specifically, but in the case of Elom Abebio, known as Ama Governor, she was denied bail, even though the original considerations for her bail does not contain that particular clause of she not being able to travel out of the country. I mean, is this a similar situation with all those persons, including your client, who were granted bail, that there was no original clause barring them from traveling out of the country?
No. Her matter is a bit different because she had a pre-arranged travel before all these issues. So she made an application to the court. It wasn't an official application. It was a letter that wrote to the court asking the court's permission so that she could travel. And the court says that she needed to make an official application, a formal application, so it could be considered.
I see. But in the specific case of your client as well, you were in court for the continuation of the case. How did that play out?
Right. So my client, if you may be aware, is the gentleman whose wife had delivered at a 37-minute hospital. And he actually went to visit the wife. But the wife was admitted on the 20th of September. And so he took the wife there for delivery. The wife gave birth, but because of some complication, she was being monitored. So the gentleman goes there every now and then. So he was there on the 20th, went back on the 21st, went again on the 22nd, a day that the wife was being discharged. So he had been given a bill of about $2,400, but he didn't have enough money on him. So he was going out of the hospital, and of course the protesters were there. According to the police, the protest became chaotic. They arrested people, and he was also arrested.
I see. Yes. And that was that specific case. And so in this instance, there was a clear incident that he was not even part of the protesters, is it not?
No, he wasn't part of the protesters. Like I said, he wasn't part of the protesters at all. The only common denominator between him and the protesters was the fact that he was within the vicinity. And just bear in mind, the 37 military hospital and its environs are a public place. So it was incumbent on the police to make sure that innocent people were protected. And also the demonstrators were also allowed to do their protest. But if they had to be arrested, you don't arrest the demonstrators if they have committed any offense, and also arrest innocent persons as well. My client was an innocent person.
And so how do you envisage this particular case will travel? Which path, at least, based on how things are playing out now?
Okay, so my client has been charged with 5 counts offenses that he has committed. And we are making a formal application to the court to strike out these charges because we are of the view that they are all defective. Because, like I said, he wasn't part of the protesters. And indeed, he was the one that one of the protesters wrote a letter from himself saying that he wasn't one of us. The 37 military hospital also wrote a letter to the police to confirm that we know this gentleman because his wife is here and the daughter. So all the charges against him, in our view, are defective. We're going to make a formal application to the court and see what the court will say to strike out these charges against our client.
Counsel, appreciate your time on this, and thank you so much.
I'm grateful.
Lawyer Samuel Abuaji Amuam is lawyer for one of the protesters who have been granted bail as we speak, and he's had to go back to court to continue the hearing of the case.
Let's bring you some more here on Hot Edition. And board chairman of the Agricultural Development Bank, ADB, Dasibre Ekwuamwa Ejapon II, has been directed to step down from his position with immediate effect. The Bank of Ghana, which issued the directive, referred to a recent petition to the presidency by a Ghanaian named Collins Dakwa Abuaje, alleging improper conduct on the part of the board chairman. The petitioner had also alleged a case of misconduct involving 2 million Ghana cedi transaction, which is said to have been fraught with potential conflict of interest, financial mismanagement, or other actions that may have compromised the duties expected of a person in such a high-ranking position. Now, citing Section 103(2)(d) of the Banks and Specialized Deposit-Taking Institutions Act 2017, Act 930, the Bank of Ghana, in a statement, said that, quote, your continued holding of office as a director of the ADB has become untenable due to the irreparable damage these events have caused to the image of the bank. You are directed to immediately resign from your position from the ADB and appropriately hand over. Please take note of the above for strict compliance, unquote. Now, Let me also dive a bit into this matter and look at the section the BOG referred to in this statement, section 1032 of the Banks and Specialized Deposit Taking Institution Act 2016, Act 930, where the Bank of Ghana determines that a relevant person has A, willfully or repeatedly caused a contravention of a provision of this act, the regulations or directives issued under this act following a written warning or an order from the B been engaging in an unsafe or unsound practice that has resulted in a material loss to the bank, specialized deposit taking institution or financial holding company, or financial gain to that relevant person, or C, been conducting its affairs in a manner detrimental to the interest of its depositors and creditors, the Bank of Ghana may, in respect of the actions referred to in Section 1, issue an order taking any of the following actions. And that takes us to D, which is direct the dismissal of the relevant person from the bank, specialized deposit taking institution, or financial holding company. E, prohibit the relevant person from serving in or engaging in the deposit-taking business for a stated period. Impose an administrative penalty of not more than 100 penalty units for each day that the contravention continues, or require the relevant person to dispose of all or any part of the direct or indirect holding or interest in the bank, specialized deposit taking institution, or financial holding company, or cease to hold a significant interest in it. So that was that act that the Bank of Ghana stated in that statement or letter to the chairman of the board of the ADB Bank earlier. Let's bring in economist and political risk analyst, Dr. Theophilus Champong. Good evening to you, Doc. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening. A pleasure to be here.
And Doc joins us via video call. Doc, in the first place, I'm wondering what you make of this petition and this subsequent request for the board chair to resign.
Yeah, I think these are very, very serious allegations, almost to the extent of bordering on criminality, although, of course, it has to be proven. If you look at the letter and the spirit of the letter that is written by the BOG, and subsequently the letter also that's in the media coming from the president directed at the chiefs, it clearly shows, that he has found himself committing or doing things that he shouldn't have been involved in. And let's be very clear here. This is no ordinary chief. This is a whole, the paramount chief of the entire right?
Yes.
So it's not like some Odiku or some Kuntihene, or some sub-chief somewhere. It's a very, 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 important role. And again, like the Galamsey menace that we've been seeing, for me, it does indicate how low collectively we have sunk, as a nation, that a chief of that caliber, if the allegations, are proven to be true, is actually involved more or less in fraud, because you read the media reports that are out there that basically to a point that the person would go take the loan of the 12 million and he in turn would loan 2 million out of that to the chief. And for the chief, because he's the board chair, to facilitate, right? He facilitated that to happen. And that clearly shows that the corporate governance protocols within the bank and other systems did not work as expected. And for such a person of that caliber, if he is found to have committed those offenses, normally what will happen is they even would ban you from being the director of a company for a certain, number of years. So there are serious allegations that are involved here. And I think, it goes beyond just banking, but it tells me, that collectively, even the traditional institutions that we've been looking up to to also hold the fort have become part and parcel of, the malaise that we're seeing as a country.
If you look at that letter dated 10th of October sent to the Dasibre Kuyamwa Ejapon II, and I quoted a bit of that when I was reading earlier, which is your continued holding of office as director of the ADB has become untenable due to the irreparable damage these events have caused to the image of the bank. Emphasis on irreparable damage. What do you think could be, aside from perhaps people withdrawing their investment or closing the accounts?
Yeah, of course, some people would, but I mean, it's the whole brand, it's the whole image of the bank, and he is no other person than the board chair of the bank. So we hold him to higher standards, whether he's a chief or any other person. You're carrying the ethos of the bank, right? And to have been involved in such a thing, clearly it means that his position has become untenable, and he should be, he should be sacked. It's as simple as that.
Now, you mentioned earlier that what has happened is indicative of how low we have sunk. Did you mean to say that perhaps there was some sort of negligence on the part of the entire system, why this could continue to this point where this man we're talking about had to petition the presidency on this?
No, not even that. I'm just using that as an example. So remember, like with the Galamsey fight, a lot of chiefs have also been fingered, right, for allowing or selling their lands and allowing certain unscrupulous practices to take place on their land and all of that. And for a chief of this caliber to have been caught and petitioned to have been involved in these kind of loan arrangements, which almost borders on fraud, if proven, it does, for me, tell me that even those institutions, right, the chieftaincy institution and the people in there that we're looking up to as one of the, arbiters, one of the institutions we can run to help us resolve issues within the country, even they themselves, have become they have not lived up to expectations. Let me put it that way.
In the meantime, though, how do you think this has affected confidence in the system beyond the ADB bank already?
I don't think that it's going to necessarily affect the wider financial system. For anything at all, for Bank of Ghana to have acted on this, even considering the caliber of the chief, does tell you that the regulators are trying to do their best, and that should actually rather signal confidence in the banking system and the financial system of the country. So I don't think it's going to have a big material impact on the broader financial ecosystem. But what it does indicate, like I said, is that we need to take the issues of corporate governance extremely serious in our state-owned enterprises and indeed within even the private sector.
Thank you so much, Doc, for speaking to us.
Thank you.
And you heard Dr. Theophilus Champon. He's economist and political risk analyst.
The Mental Health Authority is urging organizations to provide supportive environments to ensure that employees' mental health issues are addressed. The authority emphasizes that mental well-being is essential for both employee health and overall productivity.
How frequently have you responded to the question, how are you, on top of your head with I'm fine, even when you weren't? How many times have you booked or even delayed a mental health check out of convenience? This clearly illustrates our tendency to consciously or unconsciously overlook our mental health because it often isn't a priority. The World Health Organization (WHO) reports that mental, neurological, and substance use disorders represent over 10% of the global disease burden, with lost productivity from depression and anxiety costing the global economy $1 trillion annually. The chief executive of the Mental Health Authority, Professor A. Penamanopau, emphasized the importance of enhancing mental health support in work environments.
The Mental Health Authority thinks that improving mental health in the workplace is a collective responsibility. Improving mental health in the workplace actually leads to increased productivity, because once there's improved mental health in the workplace, there's more employee engagement that would in turn lead to better work outputs, and therefore, of course, we get the increased productivity.
Management and employers are being urged to develop clear policies regarding mental health.
There are some important ones, such as anti-discriminatory policies that should be considered. And then work-life balance policies is another. That is regarding the implementation of flexible work arrangements like remote working to reduce stress and then promote balance in the life of these workers.
Safwa Wahin there with that report. So live here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, also on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We're live on W 93.5 in Y and beyond. Bismarck Iwusa standing by with the latest in the world of business. Right after this quick break, stay with us.
The most comprehensive election coverage.
Top-notch presenters and well-versed analysts.
Dedicated reporters and correspondents in every nook and cranny across the country.
All the action, every incident reported. All the big stories covered.
All facts cross-checked. Every figure verified.
Every vote monitored and accounted for.
The numbers tallied, analyzed, and interpreted.
We have invested time and energy in order to bring you a comprehensive elections coverage.
The whole world will be watching us on TV, online, and radio.
Election Command Center. Facts, analysis, results.
Hello, good evening. It's time now for the business segment on Hot Edition with me, Bismarck Ausa. Coming up tonight, Bank of Ghana justifies decision to order Kweuman Hene to resign as ADB board chair over 2 million cedis extortion allegation. We'll bring you details. Thanks for your company. Now to the details. Before we take you to the Bank of Ghana story, in an effort to resolve the ongoing dispute with the Ada community, Electrochem Ghana, after parliamentary intervention, has launched its community outgrower scheme to promote inclusiveness and address illegal salt mining challenges. The company has ceded 2,000 acres of its concession in the Songo Lagoon to community members and interested businesses, allowing them to participate in salt mining legally. Parliament's request for Electrochem to allocate portions of its concession to indigenous salt miners has significantly expedited the implementation of the outgrower scheme. The beneficiary groups include the Ada Community Chiefs Association, the Ada Youth Forum for Development, and the Songonya Association. Bismarck Nate is Chief Engineer, Mine Service and Design at Electrochem.
This is the community plan we did for the Kosem people. It is 13 acres and it is ready to make salt. Okay, so the next group after the community plan, which is the outgoers, will be the chiefs, the community chiefs, which is also a 30-acre area we have given out. So you can see the signpost there, which shows the area allocated for the communities.
Addressing the media at a formal handover of the allocated lands to 3 registered indigenous mining groups at Sege in the Ada West district of the Greater Accra region, Chief Executive of Electrochem Ghana, Abdul Razak Adam, said the request of Parliament is in line with the company's objectives and plans.
We decided that let's carve out a niche that would still accommodate the people so that everybody is accommodated. More especially, it was accelerated because of recent parliamentary recommendation that Electrochem should carve out part of the portion of the concession for the members of the community. So that accelerated it. So we listened to the Parliament, and we have since started working with Mineral Commission. So because this falls under tributary system.
Meanwhile, Chief of Tobloku Oko and Secretary of the Ada Community Chiefs Association, Nene Damaseu III, expressed profound gratitude for the company's initiative.
We came to represent the whole association, so having come to really see where our concession is, we will have to go back, report to our association, and then plan. I think that is a relief as chiefs of the community. This will also create job for people who hire to do the work for us as chiefs.
Now, the African Center for Energy Policy, ACEP, has issued a stern warning that it may have to seek the intervention of the International Monetary Fund, IMF, to compel the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, to operate a single bank account. This move is in response to the persistent failure of the power company to comply with repeated directives from the President and the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, PURC, to consolidate its financial operations.
According to the African Center for Energy Policy, ACEP, the ECG's current practice of operating 61 separate bank accounts across 16 financial institutions is a significant barrier to transparency and accountability. This fragmented accounting structure makes it difficult for auditors to track the company's cash flows and increases the risk of financial impropriety. The energy think tank highlighted that the ECG's financial shortfalls have been a major burden on government. These shortfalls have ballooned from 295 million cedis in 2017 to 9.7 billion cedis by 2022, and the situation has continued to deteriorate. ACEP cited data from the PURC, which showed that the ECG experienced under-recoveries of 13.6 billion cedis between August 2023 and July 2024, with a shocking revenue collection rate of only 43% during this period. The Energy Sector Recovery Program estimates that power sector shortfalls between 2019 and 2023 amounted to approximately $8.25 billion, placing an unsustainable strain on public resources. The total energy sector debt currently stands at around $1.74 billion, with over $1.2 billion owed in legacy IPP debts, $450 million owed for gas payment, $20 million debt to WAPCO, and revenue under recoveries of some $67 million by the ECG.
And that News Desk report ending the business segment with me, Bismarck Ausa. For more business stories, please log on to 3news.com. Bill Ishan is here for the sports. Do stay.
Hello there, good evening and welcome to the sports segment here on the 3FM Hot Edition. My name is Billy Shen. Starting off with the Black Stars. Of course, they drew 0-0 with Sudan in the AFCON 2025 qualifiers, leaving their AFCON qualification hopes in a threat. Now, Ghana has 2 points from a possible 9 and need 3 successive victories to book a place in Morocco. Otoado, who coached the side against Sudan on Thursday, believes that the side were hard done by the game and the chances that they missed.
The only thing which was missing was the goals, and surely we have to work on this. We have some few days to analyze it, how we can score better. The chances were there, a lot of chances, but this is football. This is football, sometimes very, very hard, difficult for us. So now it pains even more. The Niger game pains even more, and also the last-minute goal against Angola pains even more, because today again we did well, and there's nothing much I can say, and just the result. And this is the most important thing in football. It's not correct, and I think we deserve to win, but we didn't. And we will stay positive, and we will beat them away with the same performance, the same passion. The same creativity up front, we will beat them away. Surely we will try to train finishing and give them confidence. That's all. This was the only thing which was missing. The spirit was good, the passion was there, the defensive discipline was there. It's just about to finish the actions. That's all. That's all. And
that was Coach Otoado, the head coach of the Black Stars. Of course, a number of fans were unhappy with the results, and 3 Sports spoke to those fans right after the game, and this is how they reacted.
What do you make of the game?
Oh, Charlie, the players they disappoint with, especially Kudus. See, you just imagine. Here is the ball, and this is the line. Just tap it. Then you just play the ball to the keeper. How?
And me too, my point is that looking at the caliber of players that we have, we realize that in their foreign teams, we see Kudu scoring 2 goals, Semenyo scoring 3 goals and assists, but they come here with no passion.
Alidu did very well, but right now the issue is that they don't have the passion anymore. They just played like for fun, keke.
They did quite well, but I want the coach to do is they should work on their final third. The players, they don't know how to score goals. As you watch the game, some people came with a winning mentality.
But Tuado don't force. You first start Ashmeru. You first start Ashmeru.
In terms of possession, yeah, but you're finishing here very poor. And you know, your best so you're finishing because you could have utilized so many chances. Inaki. Akwane Bayern or the pressure babon. Oh, so starting Inaki. Anyone was starting forward in Inaki Bayern. Who say anyone is strong? It's Inaki next time. We need a smooth in the midfield. And it was smooth. About a beautiful game. Last game never. About me 9 minutes.
Emotional reactions there from the fans, but there was one player that the fans loved, and that was Ali Dusaid, who put up a man-of-the-match performance with his commitment and passion and got a lot of good chance during the game. Now, Ali Du says he learned his aggression from one man, a Spanish legend, Sergio Ramos.
It was more on the national team. Okay. It was more on the national team when I heard when I hear Andre Ayew, when I hear Asamoah, when I hear Wakaso, yeah. I wanted to be like them, yeah, you know. I wanted to get the name like them, and a player like Sergio Ramos, I liked me a lot. So when I was playing football, I wanted to play like him. So when I go on the pitch, I just sometimes fight, sometimes kick people, you know. Sometimes I just play rough, you know. But that was the players. It's my role model, Sergio Ramos. I think to be aggressive or something like that, I think it's in me. Yeah. It's in me because where I grew up was very, you know Zongo. It was very, you know. So I think this being aggressive or something like that, it's already in me. I just copied his seriousness on the pitch, like his leadership on the pitch. Even sometimes he get like red card or something like that, but. You know that Sergio Ramos, when he's on the pitch, he gives everything. Like he's very serious, and yeah, that's what I copied from him.
That was Ali Dusedu, the Black Stars defender, on his idol, Sergio Ramos. Now, here are some other results from the AFCON 2025 qualifiers. Nigeria defeated Libya by 1-0. Egypt defeated Mauritania by 2-0. And there's also South Africa, who are currently defeating Congo by 3-0. Later tonight, there's Angola versus Niger. That game has repercussions on Ghana's position in the standings of the AFCON 2025 qualifiers. Currently in Group F, Angola are first with 6 points, Sudan are second with 4 points, Ghana are third with 2 points, and Niger are at the bottom with 1 point. And so Angola versus Niger starts at 7 p.m. Tonight. And also, we have Ghana Premier League action during the weekend. Some great fixtures for you. Here are the fixtures for you. Hearts of Lions will be facing Vision FC. Accra Lions will face Bekum Chelsea. Samatex versus Nswatreman. Aduana FC versus Dreams. Young Apostles versus Hearts of Folk. Nations FC versus Bibiani Gold Stars. And Basake Holy Stars versus Karela United. I didn't mention Asante Kotoko because they have a shadowed game against DC United on October 12th. And according to DC United, Kotoko, some players were not able to arrive in the USA because of visa challenges, and due to that, they would see additional players and will be rostered as a Ghana Week DC select side to play against DC United. And so that is the update with Kotoko. That game would come off on October 12th. That is tomorrow, that is Saturday in the USA. That brings an end to the sports segment here on the 3FM Hot Edition. My name is Bill Ishen, and of course, Beatrice and the rest of the team are on standby with more updates.
Thank you very much, Bill Eshan, for bringing us the latest in sports. And let's bring you some more. The Upper East Regional Security Council, led by its chairman, Bin Saleh Hafiz, has visited Boko to engage with security operatives following Wednesday's violent clash at the Messiga checkpoint between police and immigration officers. The minister held discussions with the operatives and also called on the Boko Naba, assuring him of a peaceful working relationship among security agencies to achieve the needed peace in the area.
That incident be the term of the past, and it should be the last time that we're going to register a fracas between security agencies in Boko. There is the need for you to come together, and I want to reiterate that this month we are going to roll out some activities that will bring you together, because we know that as you do things together, you will bond. That unity is crucial.
And you had there the Upper East Regional Minister speaking earlier to the media. Let's speak to Castro Senyala. He's our Upper East Regional Correspondent. Castro, just tell us more about what transpired.
Right, so today the
a highly powered delegation went straight to Boko Township to engage the security personnel and all other stakeholders that play critical role as far as ensuring that there's peace within the Boko Township. First of all, the regional minister went to the Boko Naba, where he's been very vocal about the need for the security agencies to work together and coordinate together, considering that Boko needs their help to be able to get peace. He went further to assure the Boko Naba that it was the last time the security agencies would be at each other's neck, assuring that they would find lasting solutions to all the reoccurring clashes. From there, he went to the Boko Senior High School where he met the operatives, and he didn't mince words about how it was important for them to stick together, work together, and not let their uniforms to differentiate them. He also said that it was a critical moment for them to collaborate because the elections were just 2 months away, and also across the border, there was serious issues of insurgency, and if they were not able to work together, it was going to be a big problem. And for that matter, he wouldn't want to see any of that happen again. And he also said that they were going to roll out some activities that would make them work together to build a bond between them, because it was observed by the RESEC that because they don't work together, as the police and military and other security agencies don't work together, there wasn't that bond among them. And so going forward, the RESEC was going to work hard to ensure that they come up with activities next month which would help them grow some sort of bond among themselves.
Castro, when you say a high-powered delegation, beyond the minister, who else was there?
Yes, so all the security heads within the region were there, and also a delegation from the Northern Command of the Ghana Armed Forces were also there. And all of this. And then we also got the impression that some officials from Accra had also come to join the regional, the RESEC in the region to go to Boko, because according to what the regional minister said, the incidents were becoming one too many, and they were not happy at all. And if they were happening in any other part of the region, it would have been understandable. But to happen in Boko, where already, the state security actors are struggling to restore peace to the area, is something the government, and for that matter, the country, was not going to gamble with.
And was there any reaction from the people there regarding all these assurances coming from these top security officials?
Yes, so the regional minister, and in fact the RESEC, made it clear that they were not coming to dialogue with the security operatives. They were coming with a message, and the message was clear, and that is they don't want a repeat of what is happening. It's been 4 times in the region, and it's not a good story. He went further to say that, yes, the security agencies did a good thing by uncovering cocoa beans that were being smuggled into neighboring Togo. But because they failed to work together as a team, the good side of that story, which was a good thing, which would have praised them, alluded them in a very funny way, and they didn't come to sort of dialogue them to find faults. So they didn't give opportunity to any of the security operatives to speak. The only person who spoke was the Boko Naba, who also emphasized the need for them to work together as a team, because they were mandated to protect lives and property and not to fight against themselves. He also chipped in the issue of appeals, where he asked for the Regional Coordinating Council, and for that matter, the Boko Municipal Assembly, to do well as far as improving the town routes are concerned.
Thank you very much, Castro Senyala. He's our Upper East Regional Correspondent. And you're still here on Hot Edition on True FM 92.7. Welcome to Campaign Trail. On Campaign Trail tonight, the Electoral Commission has clarified issues concerning the provision of ballot statistics ahead of the printing process for the 2024 general election. The EC says that management body, the EC says that it has not started printing of ballot papers as was alleged by the opposition NDC. The NDC had earlier stated that 10 reasons why the EC cannot go ahead and print the ballot papers without first providing the ballot statistics. The EC explained in an October 10, 2024 statement that it planned to print notices of polls for both the presidential and parliamentary elections today. The Commission said the actual printing of ballot papers would begin after it furnished the ballot statistics to presidential candidates, political parties and printing houses. The EC also announced that it will use 40,975 polling stations to conduct the December 7, 2024 polls. Here's Deputy Director of Elections and IT for the opposition NDC, Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer, speaking on the Midday News earlier.
During close meeting with the Electoral Commission this morning, before I came on air, and we had a very fruitful discussion with them over the printing of the notices of polls. As we indicated yesterday, the yesterday meeting was not a properly organized meeting because the agents they invited didn't have locals to take decision on our behalf. So they invited leadership, and we went and saw the notice of poll. We signed onto each of our candidates. We are satisfied as NDC. Our candidate picture, his name properly spelled, the logo of the NDC properly done. We are satisfied. So I signed on behalf of our NDC. Our opponents also signed, but there are two issues. I mean, the Afafranto, they had problem with their colors of their logo, and then one independent Andrews also had issue with his logo. So they have two issues. But for us, we are saying that apart from the notice of polls that we have signed on to, printing of ballots, we are not into it. They themselves are admitted they are not doing any printing of ballots as of now, because they have not given us statistics of the ballot statistics. They have not given us a certified register, and so for these two, they need to come clean on that. And now that they've admitted to it and said yes, we are agreed. We are not doing any printing of ballot, and then we'll get ready when we prepare the statistics and we'll give it to the political parties before we can proceed. Fair enough. We give them that benefit of doubt, but we'll proceed with the printing of the notice of polls. Well, they have not indicated to us. What we do know is that they've just given the polling stations that they will be using. Well, that is the first step. We are waiting for the numbers, which form part of the statistics. They are yet to do that. But they've just released another document to us indicating that the provisional voter register, with the discrepancies, if we see, they've given a template to that. If we see any problem with the provisional register, as they are about to give to us, because they haven't given us, but they've already sent us a template to that. So you see, it's like they've brought the cart before the horse, because we have not been given the register yet we've been given the template. So we are waiting for the register.
And you heard there Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer. He is a Deputy Director of Elections and IT with your position and DC. And we're joined on the line now by Dr. Jonathan Asantioche. He's a political analyst. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, Beatrice.
Was this the Electoral Commission again putting itself in a position where people would just unnecessarily criticize it because the initial information was that it was going ahead to print ballot papers and ballot polls until these NDC raised an issue, and then it comes back to say that we came in to print the other one and not the one that you're raising issues about?
Well, let me say good evening once again to your good self and to your listeners. I think that the Electoral Commission is always running ahead of itself. I think that since the last time that they did IPAC, that they projected everything and it was done, as a live activity, from that period onwards, I have always, entertained that kind of confidence in them. But in a situation where you come up with a letter dated and it's been written to the various political parties, and especially the NDC, and you know very well that on that particular letter, the heading reads, request for party agents for the printing of notice of poll, that is one, and ballot paper. So if the NDC has this document and they raise query, and you turn around to say, oh, we are not going to do this. We never said anything of that sort. It's like you are always making the NDC appear to be the bad nut within the mist. When in actual fact, you ought to admit that we made a mistake and that which the NDC is saying is correct. That is accurate. So when you continuously do that, it's as if you have an agenda against the NDC. Because whenever they point out your wrongs, it's like you feel a little jittery. Because the thing is so plain, you have written a letter circulated 9th of October 2024. And the heading, as I read out to you, is that which appears. So we are human beings. We make mistakes. That's why I said that they seem to be running ahead of themselves. I think that all and sundry need to see is the fact that we all want to have a free, fair and transparent election. That's all.
But again,
this idea of always making the NDC appear that bad in the midst or in the eyes of the public, I think that leaves one to be desired. And it appears to me that the NDC has always been very vigilant for the activities of the EC. And this one too, the NDC has been right.
The NDC might have been right in this one, with the Electoral Commission coming back to give clarifications to what is said earlier. But you would also admit that there have been instances when the NDC have made certain demands that, when you analyze, it looks like the NDC is also putting the cart before the horse.
Well, I don't know specifically which issue you are talking about. Because when it comes to the...
So, for instance, in the instance where it said that it didn't trust, it thought that it was asking for a forensic audit and said that the register wasn't proper enough for the Electoral Commission to go ahead with it. The argument of the Electoral Commission was that this is still a provisional register. So allow us to compile, do the cleaning as we are mandated to do, and then we can have a certified register before you even think of, a forensic audit when we haven't finished dealing with everything yet.
I think that they have toned down the issue of forensic audit. Why? Because all the errors that they raised, the EC appears to have dealt with that. But the point is that the EC is right in whatever they are saying from that particular angle. But the other thing too is that if the NDC had not found these errors, would they have been able to deal with this, though it is provisional? Because you see, you saw these things, and yet you gave this document to all the parties involved. Now, if the NDC had not seen that, would the EC have been in a position to correct these errors? No. There was the need for someone to be scrutinous of the things that the EC does. And that, for me, is what the NDC has been doing. The purpose of all of these scrutinous, processes is to ensure that we all have a free and fair, transparent elections. This is a human institution. The NDC is equally a human institution. They can make mistakes, but of course, as a team, they have always been very vigilant. And so my view is that if you look at what the EC did in that presentation, that was a supreme improvement on what the errors that the NDC found. And so you could see that the NDC has toned down on that. But the other thing that they still feel there should be that forensic auditing is the IT itself, because they want to be able to track who enters and who does not enter, who has a right to alter, who does not have that right to do so. And I think that if that is all said and done, that means there is that kind of accountability from the IT level. Probably the EC feels that will be more of some kind of it will have security implications. But if the EC cannot track who enters and who exits, and who does what, A, B, C, and D, who has a right to this level, who does not have this right to this level, if they will not be able to assure Ghanaians of that, then I think that there will be the need for that forensic audit when it comes to the IT. Be that as it may, it may not necessarily be a forensic audit. They can all sit down, look at the whole architecture, and see A, B, C, and D, Georgia, and because IT, there are people with IT backgrounds, they can suggest a lot of things, and then we all want to ensure that the security of the process is tight. So I cannot hold brief for all of them. The EC erred on this, and I don't think that it is right for them to put the NDC on the carpet. The NDC has been very vigilant based upon past experiences, and I think that they are doing very well to ensure that our elections, the impending elections, come 7 December 2024, will be freely fairly and transparently conducted.
Doc, thank you so much for speaking to us.
You're welcome.
And you have Dr. Jonathan Asante-Okyere. He's a political analyst and lecturer. And that's it for Campaign Trail on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7.